Hello and welcome to Trust Birth, Trust Life. This is me, Paul Golden, with Susanne Dorfler. And we invite you to a lovely session where mostly, hopefully, Susanne talking, contrasting experiences of birth and death and what we learn and what's the same and what's different in both experiences. So hello, Susanne. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody. I'm very glad to be here in Trust Birth, Trust Life with Paul and you.
So what's your main points you'd like to describe? We were talking earlier about your experiences in the past with birth and in the present. You are helping, you sometimes have people come to your home or sometimes a relative who is at the end of their life, and you're sharing some observations about both the birthing experiences and the dying experiences. So how is that for you?
Yeah, I think, or it seems like I get older now. So also the people come to me in my house for their last path, for the dying path. So I now have experience in assisting birth or witnessing birthing and also assisting or witnessing dying. And for me, it's so important to really open for many people what I get to know in these two transitions. So it's the body who knows how to give birth. It's the body who knows how to die. And it's so important that we as humans, we learn to trust these processes, to really surrender deeply into it, to become very quiet, very peaceful, and very concentrated, but in a deep, relaxed state. And both processes are not really painful. I mean, birth is sensed painful, but it's not pain, the waves, the contractions, it's only power. And we have to learn to deal with this. We really have to prepare for this. It's a hard work, but it's not pain by itself. It's not hurting. And it's the same with dying. Also, dying is not painful. It's a deep, deep trance. It's a deep relaxation in a very concentrated way, but it's not painful. And we don't have to have fear, not for birthing and not for dying and not for loving. So I think these three energies are the most high energies that we human beings experience here in our bodies. And yes, we have to prepare ourselves for that, to be ready to surrender into this.
So
It's
why do you,
mostly
sorry to interrupt
nothing
you.
about, it's mostly nothing about doing, but for surrender. Yes.
So we'll explore that not doing is a kind of holding the space of being present. And did you ever find yourself wanting to do something and having to check, am I in balance, and not doing? Or does it come naturally to you to witness, to be present?
No. When I was a young midwife, I was not taught in my training for just being or witnessing. I was taught to do, to control, to check, to interfere. So it was really, really hard for me to come slowly, slowly into a kind of being present and not doing. I sometimes have to hold my hands in my back so that I'm not interfering because it's so high energy. And it's sometimes at birth, it's also loud. And the women, they breathe and they scream maybe. And it's really high energy and we want to do something.
This reminded me recently when I was with a 2-year-old who was also screaming that if we can create a calm environment, it's normal for the young child to go through whatever they're going through. And if they can do that with calmness, it's similar to being at a birth where things can feel that they're not calm, but we maintain some calmness I'm not sure if we can really fake it until we make it. We truly need balance. And if we need to do something, we should go and take a break or whatever it is we need to be in balance. But allowing that space around a young child, I don't really mean allowing, witnessing and facilitating that space. So they may be calm, they may not be calm, but we cannot control them. So we're not attached to the outcome, we're being present in the process. So for me, this being present in the process is very true of birth. I also have experience with death, working in hospital and intensive care units and other situations, even road accidents. And we do want to fix people. We think we have a problem and a solution-based society. And a woman in labor is a problem, or a pregnant woman is seen as a problem sometimes, or a potential problem because she's on a risk scale. But with death, there is no risk. We know somebody is dying and they're going to die. I found it unfortunate that my family member recently was in the hospital. They recognize it's the end of her life. They just put a morphine drip on and speed up the process of dying. And it reminded me of induction of labor. You know, a birth is going to happen. They put the drip up and they speed up the birth. It's this pressure in hospitals because of numbers. So how wonderful to be in your home for a death, or in your home for a birth, or in fact to be in anybody's home for a birth, a death.
Or to be at home for birth and dying, to be in their own home. So I think we should become wise again, or get to know again about birthing and dying. But I also have to say, you know, the dying process is very peaceful mostly, but before that there is a lot of resistance coming, and sometimes it's also deep fight against, because something in ourselves don't want to die, or some levels they don't want to die, they don't want to give up. So also in the last time when I was accompanying an old lady, she for some days or even maybe 2 weeks, she really had also hard times and she's crying for help, help, help. But it was the help for inside, for becoming inside, coming to herself and not outside. So it's sometimes it's where's the border where I have to let her be with her own challenge, and where can I help, where can I care? It needs a lot of...
That reminds me with labor and birth that I'm challenging myself. Do I need to step in and do something? Can I just stay present? Am I ignoring her need? Am I meeting her need? Is her need my responsibility? And we're in a team, usually with the father of the baby, maybe a doula. And I just keep checking with myself, and I'm happy to make mistakes. It's okay, I can get it wrong. I'd almost even apologize in advance, say, well, I might do something you don't want, so you must tell me what you do want. And I want to focus very much on what people do want. It's okay to say what you don't want. That can help you to figure out what it is you do want. But often, even with pregnancy and birth, if I'm asking someone what they want, they haven't visualized it. That's true of our lives. I'm guilty of this. I haven't visualized the house and the home and the garden and the river and the mountain that I would like to live by. Not exactly. So having more focus, and I find preparation, you said you have to do the work. I see hypnobirthing as a useful tool. It's basically positive language and looking at our thoughts, our emotions, and these translate into words and actions. So positive makes positive. And very simply, I see positive women having positive birth, but I also see two types of death. The ones who are holding on and resisting, as you used the word resistance, and those who let go. And this is very similar in birth. I see even the hands, somebody holding on, the pelvis is holding on to the baby. When the hands are open, also the pelvis is open. I mean, I'm simplifying things, but just sharing in this exchange with you. So I'm interested in anything else, how it was for you, how it was for the person who was dying in your house. Did it give an opportunity of learning to other friends and neighbors who might witness the compassion?
It's also the same with birthing and dying, that it is a very individual process that affects the whole family and in fact the whole society. So as a midwife or as somebody who helps to hold the space for dying, it's always a topic that we care for the whole family or for very near friends, because they are affected by the energy, by the process, by the emotions. And of course, holding the space also for them, or being ready to talk with them, or be open for their questions, or help them with different situations they come up, yeah, so that they know always, yes, that's the process. So the sounds for this level is the sound that should be, or something like this, or with the breathing in the end, it can make some noise. It's okay, you know.
I'm realizing, having this conversation, if you went back 100 years or 1,000 years or any time, birth and death happened in the village.
Yeah.
People heard
the families,
the next door neighbor giving birth. They knew of somebody dying, and they knew of life in between, everything. But as we push things away for others to take responsibility for, then it's quite rare for somebody to experience witnessing a birth or a death in their life, or at least until they get quite old.
Even, you know, this family, in the last time that I was with the dying granny, wanted a priest to come to give the sacraments. And so the priest came, and even he said, oh, thank you that you called me and I can witness this kind of dying. It's so seldom and it's so peaceful. I cannot understand why we push this precious experience out of our families, out of our lives. It's incredible. We should not. We should really bring it in our families, in our daily life again. You know.
It makes me think that how often are we going to give birth, and how often are we going to die? So for sure, we die once.
Yeah. Mostly, there are only some who come back a second time.
But or a cat. I mean, I fell off a mountain, a motorbike, and I every time thought I was dying, and I'm still here. But with birth, a woman is generally having 2 or 3 or not so many babies. She might even have 10, but it's finite. It's very limited. And death is absolutely finite. It's once. And for that experience to not be truly experienced by being numbed with morphine. I mean, if somebody wants morphine, fine.
Yeah,
but
it's necessary.
We don't need to send people to the hospital to be numbed. Also, birth, people are having morphine and being numbed from the experience of birth. When it's often about fear and resistance. And I've seen so many women, as I'm sure you have, who have thought they have fear and resistance. They get into a pool of water, they go for a walk, they start to trust, they connect to their breath, they have good support, or maybe they've just stayed at home. Maybe they're even too afraid to go to the hospital. Not that they're so courageous to have a home birth. I'm not saying they have to have home birth, but we can transfer with us probably this love, this courage. And if we are present with somebody in hospital, we can also bring that presence of witnessing and surrender, compassion. I think there's something very holy about both birth and death, without saying, oh, I have a religious belief this way or over this way. There is something, as I say, it doesn't happen often in our lives to have a birth or a death, or even to witness it. Yeah.
Both is very, very intimate, and we should also care for this. Yeah, it's very intimate to give birth. It's in your intimacy space of your body where the baby comes out. So it needs to be really carefully protected. And it's also very intimate to go through the birthing, through the dying process. Yeah.
Is there an element where the person dying when they're very old at the end of their life is a bit like a baby?
Yeah, they also
How is
become
that?
like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So she's
then,
calling you in the nighttime. She has needs.
yeah.
Just mostly, how do you satisfy these needs?
Yeah, mostly it's maybe going to the toilet or having something to drink, sometimes a little bit to eat. So it's the same needs that a baby has. Yeah, it's
I think
very,
also about presence, about your comfort. If she wanted you just to be present and with her, like a baby needs somebody there.
Yeah, not to be alone with this all these feelings and experiences. Yeah. But it's not only, I think it's not only for old people, also there is, for example, for ill people.
Yeah.
Maybe they have cancer. Maybe my brother, he was also very ill. They also really appreciate not being alone with the process, but not taking away anything from their experience, but leaving their experience by them, but being present with them. It's very important to not to interfere because I am triggered. No, it's their experience.
It's interesting to explore triggers, our triggers, and how others are triggered by us or whatever event's happening. I paused to think, do I share? When I crashed my motorbike, I dreamt even the day before that I would crash and I would fall over these railings to my death. So I crashed at high speed, 150 kilometers an hour. I'm lying on the road and a man and a woman separately came along. The woman knelt down and held my hand. And the man said to me, "What can I do?" And I said, "Hold my other hand." and he said to his friend, "What does he want?" He said, "To hold his hand." "Why?" "I don't know." The woman wasn't thinking, she just did it. And I felt a connection. And I really thought I was just going to die and lose consciousness. And I felt so secure and grateful for somebody being present, being with me. And there were these two guys talking about whether or not he should hold my hand while I die. I don't know if there's some kind of Zen lesson in that. Maybe it's more just amusing. And obviously I didn't die. And every day I'm grateful for what life is. It's so creative, so special. And we can, be present for others. But I think we have to be present for ourselves. Not I think we have to be. It's essential to take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. So how did you manage your self-care in this time? What are the things you needed?
You know, one of my lessons, my personal lessons, is to trust life. So I trust that when I care for life or death, that life is also caring for me. And I get my times of rest and I get my times of sleep. Of course, in these, when there is somebody in the end of life or also in the beginning, sometimes it needs a lot of being awake. I don't get a lot of sleep, but in between I sleep when I can. So of course I need sleep, and I also, if I have to often get the people out of the bed or back again, it's also very much for my body. And then, okay, when I feel now it's on the edge of my possibilities, I get a massage or I go into a bath. I often go into nature and eat good, drink good.
I hear you have a lake by your house. How is that? Is it
Yes.
frozen at the moment? Maybe you're skating on it instead of swimming in it.
No, I'm skating on it and I'm swimming in it. So I use all the possibilities. It's very, very healthy. The very cold water. It freshes up all cells,
That's
and
wonderful.
it's good recreation. Yeah.
So to anybody listening at home, go try that at home. Go find an icy lake and jump in it. Yeah, you'll feel alive.
Or snow. It's also good to have a snow bath, to lay in the snow.
Yeah.
But one more thing that I think for me is very important. After birth and after death, there is a holy time where people really have to care for themselves and for the space. So after birth, it's the childbed time. So the days after birth, they really have to be in their bubble of love and miracle and whatever it is, to integrate these all and to integrate the new life coming to the new life with the baby. It's very, very important to care for this time. And also after dying, when a relative or something very near died, you are in a kind of, it's not childbed, of course, it's deathbed, or I don't know how to say. It's a holy time where we really have to care for ourselves, because we are very open and we are very sensitive. So, and it's a waste of experience if we don't dive into it. So please take care of yourself after birth and after somebody died. It's very precious.
Again, self-care, isn't it? So yes, it's oxytocin. Even the midwife, the doula, whoever is witnessing a birth has a lot of love hormone themselves, and people can see they're radiant afterwards. I'm aware that the death that you also had a family nearby that had a birth maybe a few days before the death, and the older lady who was dying. I wonder if there's a feeling of one new soul coming in and the other one departing, and is there any connection between them?
I think when these two transitions take place at one time, I think, I cannot see it, I cannot feel it, but I think that the souls meet, the border is open, and it's the same border we go out and we go in. So I wonder what they experience in these levels we cannot reach.
The word wonder is great. The word wonder for me reminds me of awe, that we cannot always find a word. We cannot always think it or feel it. It's sometimes beyond that. And this could be the awe of looking at nature or the universe or a baby or a death. So thank you very much. I think this could be good. If there's anything else you feel would be great to share.
I just want to say I love you all.
Yes.
And I am more and more in a process of really loving life.
Yeah. So it's let go and love.
Yes.
Love, death. What was it? Birth, death, and love. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Susanne.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for looking, and have a good time. And bye-bye, Paul.
So we see everyone for another session where we will find interesting topics. It can be anything, including, well, human rights or induction of birth or twins or breech, many subjects.
Home birth or something else.
Yeah.
Or birth in nature. How is that?
So tune in next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.